Okay.
Hey, everybody. I write Sins, Not Tragedies, Samantha.
And I'm dead inside, Mason.
And you know it's good when you hear Lycon
Lycon
Topany.
Topany.
We're not in
Yay.
Thailand. Again, we use it every time, but we're not in Thailand. I don't even know when the next time we're going to be in Thailand, to be honest with you guys. The Boys Land landscape has been mighty grim recently.
Yeah, Thailand's offerings for sure.
Yeah, but we have another chapter in a storied BL series.
Yes, HIStory4.
Close to you.
Yay. I'll just say right now, before we even say anything about it, massive trigger warnings for sexual assault and rape. This, like, truly, there's just, we're going to talk about it in and out. So if that's something that bothers you, please do not watch this video and hurt yourself. So trigger warning right now.
All right, so synopsis time. Mason, what have you got for the team?
So it is about these three men, and they all work at this wedding company called Muse. They're all like managers. They were pretty high up. Lee Chang is one. He's like basically the himbo. Mu Ren is another. He is like a fairy boy. He's very pretty. And then there's Xing Su, who's kind of like the everyman. So it's basically how Lee Chang and Mu Ren fall in love. And that starts because Lee Chang wants to start pursuing Mei Fang. Is that her name?
Yes.
Mei Fang, who is actually in HIStory4. She comes back. She was one of Yu Shigu's classmates. She comes back and he starts to pursue her. And in order to pursue her, he decides to get involved in her interests. Her interest being boys' love. So he's planning to date her by pretending to date his friend Mu Ren. And of course, it's a boys' love. So of course they end up falling in love accidentally. And then we have Xing Su and Little Devil. They are stepbrothers. Xing Su is about, what, 10
years older.
About 10 years older. They met when Little Devil was 10, and their parents married, and they've been brothers ever since. And about how Little Devil really, really wants to fuck his stepbrother. Yeah. That's the storyline they went with HIStory4. We went from two beautiful romances of history trapped and make our days count, and we've wound up circling back to the problematicness of stepbrothers. History series is not shy about doing weird age gaps. They did it in multiple histories throughout. HIStory3 had it. HIStory2 had it as well, I believe. But the stepbrothers and the age gap, we have a lot to work through this episode. A lot to work through.
Yeah. I was surprised when I found out who the screenwriter was. I was like, okay, maybe the screenwriter who did the stepbrother story from season 2 came back and wrote this one. Mm-hmm. When I found out that the screenwriter for this show was the screenwriter for Make Our Days Count, I was stunned. Because Make Our Days Count, we have like a trinity of like practically perfect boys' loves, and Make Our Days Count Trapped are like two sides of a perfect coin. Mm-hmm. And I would have never expected her to do something like this, even though I should not be surprised.
Yes.
Because she wrote that bullshit ending.
Yes, we should not be surprised. She wrote that bullshit ending. Yu Shigu, as you said on Twitter yesterday, Yu Shigu did not die for this.
I mean, for real, if you could see our chat while we were both watching this, and Mason's like tweets on his private Twitter, Like the levels of disbelief and nausea just kept increasing as each episode went on.
Oh my God. Like first 2 episodes, I'm like, this isn't great, but like whatever. Episode 3 comes and I was like, a mess. Therapy for all, like a lifetime of therapy for everyone involved in this show. I don't know. Y'all lives are a mess.
It was just okay. I want to start with some good stuff.
Okay.
Let's start with the fact that I really love the Mu-Ren Ishan couple. I think that they are a great couple. I love just about everything in their storyline. I could watch a whole series of just them by themselves and their group of friends and coworkers around them. I love them.
Yeah.
I especially love the fact that the actor who plays Ishan, to me, gave big Choi Min-ho vibes.
He did. They definitely have that like jockey himbo energy.
Yeah. So like I was watching the whole time thinking like if Minho and Key were in a drama, this would be
this
their drama.
For sure. Oh, for sure. Minho and Key. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, especially because the other guy has that same kind of like I'll wear anything fashion sense. And he's also one of those people like I'm good at everything, but I care about no one.
Yes, he has that like icy, cold, pretty boy vibe.
Yes. And I was like, this is perfect. This is absolutely if I was writing fan fiction and it was a Minky fan fiction, I'm like, throw it on the screen. They would be what it is.
You're like, I think I've read this before.
I sure did. There were a lot of moments where I was like, where have I read this before?
Well, Sis plagiarized the ending for HIStory4, so maybe she plagiarized Mu-Ren and Lee Chang. So
could very well. But I mean, I loved him as an actor. I thought the energy he gave to his character was like really good energy because he had a character that could have been very annoying. Because he was very annoying. Like the first episode, he was annoying.
Mm-hmm.
But as the series progressed, I just found myself more and more and being like, oh my gosh, this guy is an actual literal puppy. This is so great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a great actor. He definitely held the series together. Him and Mu-Ren, like the glue that sealed together this sinking ship.
Yes, and Mu-Ren, his actor, honestly, his performance was super understated, but so appropriate because he was kind of cool and they had that antagonistic back and forth. But as their feelings developed, like all of a sudden you could see like just a really soft, tender, shy side to him that was like so nice to see because it could be considered out of character. But he also states like, I had walls built up. I was afraid of commitment. Yeah. And so being with you and being willing to be committed to you, I'm able to let those walls down and I'm able to be more tender. So both of their performances were amazing.
They both really took the script and read in between the lines and found the moments to pop even when they weren't reading a line of dialogue. And that's what made them very well-rounded characters. They were really good. I even like just like little things, even just in the script too. Like I like that once Lee Chang admits his feelings to himself that he likes Mu-Ren, he is all in. He's okay with the PDA. He's like, I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. If I want to slip my tongue down your throat while we're standing in public in the Starbucks, I'm going to. Like, who gives a shit? And I was like, respect. I like someone like that.
Right. So I think in order to keep this review super positive, let's just tell their whole story together and then we'll talk about the love which shall not say its name. So we start out with these two as both of them are managers of their respective sales teams. There's two sales teams, sales team 1, sales team 2. Their business is Muse Weddings. They basically sell wedding packages to couples. So like they take care of the reception, the food, the invitations. They do the whole thing for wedding planning. And they're a pretty high-end wedding planning business. So the way that they make money is that both guys get prospective couples to sign on to get these beautiful large wedding packages, and they compete against one another as sales managers to have the most sales so that their team that works with them can get bonuses. So Mi-Fang is a new florist that was hired to be a part of the design team, and immediately when Ishang finds out that she's been hired, he's like, oh, oh my gosh, it's my first love. And they
Mhm.
show this sequence of him as a little boy pulling pigtails and just being an asshole, the way
Mhm.
that little boys are. And
Right.
so, of course, when she meets him, she's kind of like, uh, that guy. And
Mhm.
I'm like, I get it, girl, because me too.
Mhm.
Um, so, so he's trying to find ways to get on her good side, and it's just not happening because she doesn't like him. And him bothering her with flowers and everything else is not enduring her to him. Instead, it's basically pushing her even further away because she's like, I can be a coworker, but I cannot be your friend, and I absolutely have no romantic interest in you. And you're really making my life difficult by putting all this attention on me, and I'm the new girl at the office.
Mhm.
So he, not being someone willing to give up easily, is like, I will find another way to her heart.
Mhm.
And so he finds out that she is a fan of something called BL. And this is where I make a guest appearance in the show. I'm Sister Mang. Uh,
Oh yeah.
I was watching, I'm like, I've been
Caught in 4K.
really and truly. So he finds out that she likes something called boys love, and he does not know what BL is.
Mhm.
So eventually he does find out, and he tries to convince her that, oh, I like BL too. And she's like, you don't even give off those vibes, bro. Like, you give off real jockish dude bro energy. I don't believe you. So somehow or another, he manages to convince her that, okay, I'm not a fan of BL, but I am a fan of men, specifically my friend who you've seen me hang out with, Muren. That's my
Mhm.
type. And so, of course, Mifang is like, oh, I have a chance to help two gay men hook up in real life. I'm down for that. Let's go.
Mhm.
And so she's trying to give him tips and hints on how to get Muren to fall in love with him. And Muren knows about this. And he's kind of like, I don't see how us pretending to be gay is going to get you a date.
Right. It is very flawed logic. Well, because then she basically insinuates like, oh, maybe you should date someone else and make him jealous. And that's when Lee Chung is like, oh, this is my in. I'm gonna start fake dating her. And it's a lot.
It is. Because I was definitely on Muren's side. I'm like, this don't make no damn sense. How is
Yeah.
it? What?
Yeah.
So as he is getting close to Muren in order to keep he and Meifang friends and have something to talk about, something in common, um, they start taking pictures to prove that they are getting closer. And one of the pictures is of Muren on the bed being kissed by Ichang, which I
Mhm.
was like, I don't know how you would have anything further to talk about, because if you're kissing him on the bed, it kind of is like, I've done it. I've made him mine. We're
Right.
together. But instead he's like, one more step in the pursuit of my love.
Yeah.
And this photo is on Meifang's phone when she goes to the bathroom, and she leaves her phone unlocked in the bathroom. Somebody finds the photograph and then sends it to a company group chat. Let's talk about social media here, guys. I worked in a lot of offices, and I can tell you now, anything you put in the group chat needs to be about work or about puppies or about babies, because anything else will get you fired. I do not know how this company can have the kind of group chat it does.
They are spreading nothing but like weird photos of each other. For
I,
what?
I mean, like, if you have a company policy of no fraternization, then putting photos of people kissing in the bed, coming out of hotel rooms, hugging in the break room, how's anyone keeping their job here?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, it goes into the company group chat, and Ichang and Muren are coming out of a meeting with the vice president, and he is told about the fact that Muren and Ichang are flirting, maybe gay for one another. And the vice president, like, oh really? I did not realize that Muren like men. All
Mm-hmm.
right. good to know. Immediately, Mi Fang and Yi Chang have a conversation where Mi Fang is like, listen, I'm so sorry this photo got out, especially because you guys work for Vice President Cao. And from what I heard, he has a tendency to sexually harass male employees. Mm-hmm. And with this photo being out, he might decide that he wants to take it there with one of the two of you. And of course, because Yi Chang is a big old puppy, he's like, I never heard of anybody being sexual harassed by the vice president. We're guys, don't worry about it. Mm-hmm. So then the sales quarter is ended, and they find out that the sales team that Meringue is part of had the highest sales, and the vice president invites them all to go to dinner, or I guess drinks party after work. And immediately Yi Chang is like, listen, I might not have believed homegirl when she first told me about this, but this whole rubbing his back and being like, let me take you out and stuff feels fishy to me. I think I'm going to invite myself to this party. So he does. And they get to this karaoke bar, private room setup type thing. And everybody's drinking and having fun. And he's noticing that the vice president seems to be paying very close attention to Murin. So he's going to talk to you outside for a minute. And he tells Murin, like, listen, this don't feel right to me. Something feels very, very wrong. Just watch your back, because I think the vice president has got eyes for you. And Murin, the lady who wrote this script, I really want to fight her.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she has really weird assumptions about men and I guess the threshold that men can take in terms of abuse and everything else. She has Murin say, I'm a man. How can he take advantage of me when I'm a man? Mm-hmm. And it's just like, anyone can get raped. It doesn't matter. Men, women, children, elderly, anybody can get raped. Just because you're a guy, just because you're tall, just because you may even be physically fit. If someone wants to rape you, they can find a way. And you know how they found a way? They fucking drugged you so you couldn't fight back. So if you get raped, it's not your fault. Just because you're a guy and you should have been able to fight them off. No, they shouldn't have been trying to rape. They're very wrong. No matter who you are, no matter what the situation, if you are yours for being raped, it is the fault of the rapist. But he makes this declarative statement, and then I guess because they had been arguing about who Mi Fang thought would be the top or the bottom, he's like, you're just mad because you want me to be the bottom, and that's why you're thinking I could get raped. And it's just like, why did you write this? It could have been any other conference, like, I'm just mad because the vice knows I'm a better salesman.
You glitched terribly just now. Could you repeat that, please?
Then they talked about being the bottom, and they had an argument about being who's going to be the top and who's going to be the bottom. And that is another point of like, well, you're treating me like I'm a bottom by telling me that I could get taken advantage of. Mm-hmm.
And
it's just like
the top and bottom conversations in this show, like, sent me through a wall.
Again, the writer, what's going on? Who hurt you?
Who hurt you? Why are we doing this? Verse couples exist, and like ultimately it doesn't matter. Like the male pleasure zone is in the prostate. So wouldn't theoretically being a bottom arguably be the more pleasurable spot? I don't know. Just my 2 cents.
I don't know. I don't have the male prostate, so I don't really think about my rear entrance all that much in terms of it being an erogenous zone. Mm-hmm. But I will say, again, being a top or a bottom doesn't matter. Doesn't matter when it comes to being raped. It really doesn't. So of course, Ichang gets mad because he's like, I was trying to help you. It's not about top or bottom or you being the guy. It's really about the fact that I know this person has ill intent towards you.
Mm-hmm.
So he leaves the party to like go clear his head. And when he comes back, the vice president and Mu-Ren are gone. And I will let Mason talk about what happens next.
So then Li Chen leaves the building. He is frantic. And then he sees the vice president's car drive by. So he kind of runs after the car, bursts into this hotel room where the vice president is trying to mac on Pearl Mu-Ren, who is like drunk, drowsy, and just not there. He fights the vice president off, gets him off of him, and thankfully no penetration happened, but still an extremely scarring and terrifying and traumatic moment for Mu-Ren. And also probably for Li Chang for having to like be the one to be there. Also probably not a good day for him.
Yeah, because he caught him being assaulted. Like he had been drugged, and whatever the drug was, it caused his body temperature to go up. Mm-hmm. But like at the time that Ichang got into the room, the vice president had been like kissing all over Mu-Ren, was tearing at his. This was a very violent assault.
Yes. So thankfully, Li Chang is a fucking great friend, got there, knocked the vice president out, not knocked him out, but like got him away. And then it gets a little interesting. So basically, Mu-Ren is like crying for Li Chang, and Li Chang's like, oh, it's me, I'm here. And then they're like hugging and like, yay, good friendship. And then Li Chang is like, okay, let's get you like cleaned up. Like, let's get you cleaned up. And they go to the bathroom. And while they're getting ready, Mu-Ren completely strips and just starts like taking a piss. And I don't know what about that, but like Li Chang looked over and he was like, boop, 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 boop. And that is where he started to feel something for his friend Mu-Ren.
Yes, and we don't find out until a little bit later what transpired the remainder of the evening.
Mm-hmm.
So after this evening, of course, Ichang is kind of uncomfortable about Mu-Ren. And he's not uncomfortable because of the fact that Mu-Ren was taken advantage of. He's uncomfortable because of what he witnessed in the hotel room, because it made some things real for him that had not been real previous. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because these two were very kind of like flirty even before this happened, and not in like a sexy flirting kind of way, but like they were constantly touching each other before. Like they would have like wrestling matches comparing each other's dick size, and they would fight each other and just things that were, I don't know if that's normal behavior for boys, but it felt like a little bit more than what I would do with any of my friends.
Listen, at the time they identified as straight boys, crazy. They're a weird breed. I don't understand.
Right. So after, being this physically close to his friend for so long, and then kind of them crossing a line in terms of displaying their sexual nature to one another, mm-hmm. Ichang is confused because he's like, I think I might want that dick. And so he doesn't, he doesn't really know how to process that. And that's a very valid and real. So after that, there is some tension. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think the way they went around him, like figuring out his feelings was pretty good. Like I like that I don't know. The scene where he introduced, what was her name? Gil to Mu-Ren, and like solidified like, oh, I'm very jealous right now. It's like, okay, good. Like we've worked through these feelings, we've identified them. I like where we went with this. And then he decides to like profusely court Mu-Ren in like a rom-com like like Asian drama kind of way. Like he went to the gym and he sent him like 12 photos of him shirtless in the mirror. Like, look at me go. Uh, constantly touching him, constantly sweet talking him, just like very aggressively courting him.
He even lost a project in order to make sure that Muren's team won the quarterly sales.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
So then we get to the hotel or the little like hot spring vacation that they take. And so both couples, all the friends and Little Devil, take a little vacation for like a one-night stay at a nice hotel. And while they're there, that is when Lee Chang decides now is my time. And he is like touching him all over in this bath. And Muren's like, this is sexual assault. Like whatever happened, like this could be considered sexual assault. What the fuck are we doing here? So they go back to the hotel room. They decide to have,
He didn't say it like that. He said, if I was a woman, this would be sexual harassment. But as I'm a guy, ask me if you want to touch me and then touch me. It was the writing in the story is weird.
Yes. Maybe it's a cultural difference, but I was confused. Anyway, they go back to the hotel room and basically Lee Chang cops it up. He's like, I love you. And then he kisses him. And then he's like, don't believe me? And then he licks his mouth. Like, I don't know. It was like, and if that doesn't say, I want to fuck, I don't know what else he could have done. Like, the way he licked his lips, I was like, oh,
y'all, when
he
I
wants
say
to fuck today.
he and then up to the tip of his nose. I showed it to my daughter because I'm like, this is the grossest thing I've seen in a really long time. And I reviewed The Handmaiden.
Yeah. No, it got worse. This show gets worse with that stuff. And of course, Muret is like, I don't know, y'all. Give me, I don't. And he's like, basically says he has gay panic. He like totally rejects it and then calls up Gil to be like, hey, we're going to be dating now, okay? And Gil's like, okay, yeah, I'm a cool girl. So then, of course, Muren is, oop, there's a fly. Not Muren, Lee Chang is like totally shot down. He's very sad, but like a good friend, he's like, listen, shit got weird. I'm very sorry, and tries to essentially make peace with Muren fairly quickly after. He gives him some space. Of course, he's angry, but he's a bit like, okay, that was irrational. We're adults. You're a friend. I'll give you some space, but we should still be brothers. We should still be friends, kind of a thing. And then what happens? Oh, so then
great how he said, I haven't stopped liking you, but I'll give up pursuing you.
right. And I think that's fair. I mean, I think it would be unfair to be like, oh, you rejected me, so now I don't like you anymore. Like, that's not how emotions work. So I thought that was fair and honest of him to say to Muren at the time.
So then Yichang starts spending all of his lunches with Mei Fang.
Mm-hmm.
If you recall, the whole pretending to like each other thing was to get Mei Fang to give Yichang another chance. And once Muren sees that Yichang and Mei Fang are getting close, he's like, oh wow, this shit worked. He's moved on.
Yeah.
He's gonna girl.
So he comes to the realization, so then Muren comes to the realization that he also has feelings for Lee Chang. And he breaks up with, he immediately comes clean to Gil, which I respect that he came clean. He was still shit for like fake dating her to like test the waters kind of a thing. But she does give the best line of the whole show, which is, I can't believe someone as pretty as me is still getting turned down by men. I was like, girl, yes. Know your worth. Yeah, she's like, a bad bitch like me turned down by you? Who'd have thought? I was like, yes, queen, work.
Yeah, we love her. So he breaks up with Gil. And then he's trying to tell Yi-chang that he likes him. But Yi-chang, the night that he's going to tell him, he like bought dinner, is going to break out the wine, have a private conversation. Yi-chang gets a phone call from Mei-fang that their friend needs help. And he's like, I'm going to go get this sorted out. I'll be back soon. And he doesn't come back all night. And so he doesn't come back all night. When he finally does show up in the morning, he smells like hotel soap.
Mm-hmm.
Because Mooring has got like this really like crazy sense of smell, and he's very sensitive to it. So eventually he finds out that, Mooring finds out that Yi-chang spent the night in a hotel with Mei-fang and this friend, and he doesn't know what went down at the hotel because he never was told. So he's like, I guess you really have moved on.
Mm-hmm.
And Yi-chang, when he realizes that Mooring is affected by this night out he spent, he's like, oh, you think, so there was a chance. Let me clear this up for you right now.
Yeah. And they did. I like that like didn't become a huge like impediment for their relationship the rest of the series. Because that's where I thought it was going. I was like, oh man, they're gonna drag this fucking miscommunication out till episode 10, aren't they? But they didn't. It got wrapped up real nicely. But again, with the fucking videos, someone had a video of Li Chang and Mei Fang, like, kind of looks like they were getting a hotel room together. Which again, why are they sending this to the company chat?
You're fired, everyone.
She should have been fired, the girl who did that. And fuck her for that redemption at the end. She doesn't deserve it. If I was Mei Fang, I would have said, get fucked, and walked away. I'm not taking that apology.
Absolutely. So he finally says what happens. Apparently, after pretending to like BL, Yi-chang started actually watching BL and being friends with a bunch of Fujoshis, and he is a part of their clique now. Like, he's one of the girls.
Yeah.
And I guess one of the girls just saw Make Our Days Count and was like devastated.
I thought the same thing, because she was like, oh, one of her a BL couple she really liked, like one of them died, and she was real distraught about it. And I was like, this is a Make Our Days Count jab, isn't it? Yeah, fuck you.
Bitch, you wrote that ending, and now you're making fun of people who are sad by it? Fuck you!
Yeah, eat shit. I don't like that.
Yeah. So they cleared that up, and it is smooth sailing. We're dating, we love each other, we're boyfriends, everything's fine. But then more stuff starts coming into the company chat.
Mm-hmm.
There's a picture of Yi-chang and Mei-fang hugging each other. And that's used to kind of make Mei-fang seem like some kind of desperate hanger-oner type girl.
Mm-hmm.
It gets to the point where they're like, somebody is attacking us specifically.
Yeah.
But we're not sure who it is or why. And immediately I was like, it's got to be the vice president. Like, right. Even before they revealed who it was, I'm like, it has to be him.
Mm-hmm.
But then the reveal comes out about not only is the vice president kind of behind this, but he's like really done a number in terms of setting up Yi-chang.
Yes. He frames him for embezzlement. So Li Chang then has to spend the next few episodes basically trying to prove his innocence. Because obviously we know he didn't do it. So what they do is they basically trace who was the last person like sexually assaulted by this man. And they find out that the last person who was sexually assaulted that they talked about at the beginning of the series took hush money. And the vice president took that money from the company to pay off the employee who he sexually assaulted. Li Chang finds the bank statements for this, and that bitch is out of there. So yeah, that was nicely wrapped up and good. Yeah. I like that once they got together, it wasn't about Oh, they're on again, off again because of miscommunications. It was just like other life events impacted them as people and they had to work through it together. And I liked that about them.
I did too. I thought their relationship was super solid. There was one incident where they didn't communicate, and I kind of see where it was a more natural situation than most boys' loves. So Murin wants to help Ichang get his job back, but Ichang is suspended from his job while they're investigating the embezzlement.
Mhm.
And so he wants to get back at the vice president by framing him with sex workers. And he doesn't tell Ichang about that. And Ichang's like, why would you do this? Don't do stuff like this without me. This man is dangerous. I don't like you being involved with him in any way.
Mhm.
And I can see why Murin wouldn't want to tell Ichang he's doing that, because he probably like, you'll stop me from doing this if I tell you ahead of time.
Mhm.
But at least that one wasn't like, I'm going behind your back to do something bad to you. I'm going behind. He was literally doing it because both of them were kind of trying to keep their angst from each other in this situation.
Right.
So I like that. I was disappointed with the fact that they framed the vice president with sex workers.
Yes. I think that is shitty. I don't like that they were talking about how, ew, he was with sex workers. Like, come on, guys, let him live.
Yeah, because
Going
now
with
these
sex
sex
work.
workers are on the police's radar, and maybe they've never been caught before, but now they're on
Mhm.
the radar. They have a criminal record. You really ruined these women's lives in order
Mhm.
to get back at the creep who you didn't have to do that to.
Right.
So I wasn't a fan of that. But
Me
anyway,
either. And I don't like that the little devil was a part of that too. And I'm not gonna say his name. He's the little devil.
yeah.
I don't like that he was a part of it too. I mean, I guess he ultimately did the right thing because he did call Li Chang and was like, by the way, this is what's happening. But he called him like as it was happening. So like, is he a good person? No.
And the way he did it was like, I slept with the vice president. Your boyfriend is here. He needs help.
Hmm.
Like, it was weird. I don't know if the translation was off, but that's like what it said in the subtitles.
It was
And it
odd.
made the whole situation really weird. But apparently, getting caught in these like life or death situations turns the two of them on, because they get back to their house and immediately get to getting.
Oh yeah. They fuck hard.
Yes.
To the point the
And
next morning, Li
with
Chang is
the
like, are you
biggest
okay?
bottle of lube you have ever seen.
Hmm.
It was like this big. Could
Yeah,
you
why did
imagine?
he buy so much lube?
I don't know. I mean, okay, as a person who's had straight sex, I've never used lube to have sex because I make that. So I
Hmm.
don't need to buy it, right? Um, Obviously, anal passages don't make lubricant for sexual intercourse.
Hmm.
So men do need that. And I guess because they had both been previously in straight sexual situations, he had never ordered lube before, but apparently he bought like the family economy size lube.
Yeah,
That thing was huge.
I wasn't sure what it was at first. For a second, I'm like, is he gonna douche with that? Like, I couldn't tell. I was like,
No,
wow, he's ready to go.
no, it was the biggest bottle of lube I've ever seen in a sex scene, and it totally threw me out of it. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
come on.
Yeah. Like it's comically large.
So they straighten all that out. Vice president is caught, I Chang's name is cleared, and they get to planning a wedding for two of our favorite people, Sunbo and Mr. Thomas.
Mm. I love the wedding. I love that for them. I hate that Wayne wasn't there. I would like to know why. They're like, he was abroad. And I'm like, okay, was the actor busy? Like, what happened?
No, he was on the set. He was on the set, and so was Shigu. They were both on the set. There's pictures of the whole cast on the set. He was there. I thought initially, I had a whole theory. I thought that Wayne was dead. I thought that Hao Ting jumped off Mount Everest when he was going on his last adventure to see Shigu. And I'm like, he's not there because he's dead. And I was totally ready to accept that because he was in a bad place. But at the end of Make Our Days Count, he had said, I'm going to go take this one last mountain climbing, stargazing adventure before I get married to this girl. By confirming that he was in America, which is where he was scheduled to go at the end of Make Our Days 3, that implies that him and the girl got married. And I don't like that shit. I'm sorry, I don't.
I don't like it. I don't want it. I still think if your best friend's getting married, you make the effort to go. Like, I just don't understand if the actor's on set and you know it would make fans happy just to have him like sitting there in the audience. Y'all couldn't come, like, how tight was this budget that you couldn't pay him for one day? He was already there.
Y'all got suits in the back. People have been wearing suits throughout this whole show. Pull one of the old suits out, throw it on his back, and make him get the fuck out there.
In fact, if Yushigu was there, what they should have done is totally retconned episode 10 and had Yushigu there and Haoting and them are together. I mean, and then like, yeah, what a crazy dream I had that one night. What a crazy dream.
What a strange misunderstanding.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have gone with anything, but just having Haoting there, if he's alive, at this point, Sunbolt and Mr. Thomas have been going together for 8 years, almost a decade.
Mm-hmm. You
mean that he would not have found the time to come back home for that?
Yeah, to his best friend's wedding. They went through a lot together and Make Our Days Count. Like, yeah, a lot. I cannot. I really hate that
that Haoting couldn't go to the wedding because he would have been like, we started our relationships at the same time and this hurts me. That would be the only thing that would make sense.
Only thing. But still, I hate the fact that like it insinuates that he's just gonna marry this random girl that he doesn't even seem to like. Like in the last episode, he was very apathetic to her. He seemed to just be marrying her because it was like, yeah, we like the same stuff and we get along okay, but I really just love Yushigu. And it's like, you should not be marrying her, girl. You need to, it's bad for the both of you. Therapy. Yes.
Yeah.
Well.
So that sucked, but it was good to see the friends again. It was kind of implied that 2 of the friends are together now, maybe.
Which 2?
One of the twins and then the other friend, because when they were taking the group pic, they were like making kissy to each other.
Oh, I didn't notice. I was looking at, listen, Mr. Thomas could fuck the shit out of me any day. I was busy looking at him. I'm sorry.
They look so good. They both look so good.
Sunpo, like, I'll be honest, he didn't do it for me in the show, but him with a full head of hair has transformed him. And I'm like, okay. Yeah.
I always thought for you, Daddy.
I'm sorry, I didn't. I was looking at Mr. Thomas in that shower scene, which they mentioned in the show.
And you did. And I'm like, do y'all talk about this in public all the time? Because it's a really rare place to mention that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
also, it confirmed their age gap, which we didn't have confirmation of last time.
12 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, listen, I love Make Our Days Count, but he was a junior in high school. It was a little like, oh.
Yeah. It was a lot.
That's not true. That's not true. They met when he was a junior. They didn't start dating until he was a senior. It's still weird. It's still like, you know what? Fuck it. This one's problematic, but I'll take it. I'll take the slander I get for liking them.
Yes. Because they're perfect together. I could watch a whole show of these 2 living their life.
The whole show. Oh yes. I need a spinoff for them, and I still need a spinoff of the trapped B couple, Andy and the other one.
I would do it. I even know how it goes. Andy and the other one, the one is still a police officer. Andy's an undercover officer, still working for like the CIA. Senpo is an IT criminal investigator, and he does forensic IT work for the government, and that's how they all know each other. And Mr. Thomas is just living his fucking best life
He's
making
a male
juice.
wife. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, I watched the shit out of that show. Why is no one hiring us?
We know the plot. Give us the money.
We just need funding for this. But the wedding's over, and then Mu Ren and Li Chang go to an apartment building where Li Chang is like, "This is our new home," and Mu Ren realistic is like very real about it, and he's like, "We can't afford this. Like, this seems like a bad financial decision." And then Li Chang is like, "Don't worry, baby," and then that's it. It ends. And you're like, okay,
Yeah.
good for them, I guess.
Even though I was like, $3,500 a month for $1 million home, that's pretty reasonable.
I guess. I don't know. Also, they make a lot of money. I feel like they could split that for sure.
Yeah, because that's what, $1,750 a month for both of them. $1,750 each. That's doable with their job.
That's what I pay in rent now. I fucking hate that.
Man, I remember watching that scene thinking, I need to get married. Are you telling me if I just had somebody to give me half, I could get $1 million home? I don't even want $1 million home. I would like a $300,000 home. If I get married, you mean I could cut my rent in half? I'm here for it.
Right?
Yeah.
Tax benefits, baby. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was close to you. That's all we need to talk about. Thank you guys for joining us.
Yes, nothing else happened. Everyone is fine.
Good times.
Are we ready? So I just want to say, everyone involved in this side of the storyline needs a lifetime of therapy, and good luck finding a therapist that'll do anything but yell at you. Because if someone came to me and was like, yeah, my family's real fucked up right now because I'm like fucking my brother, I'd be like, stop fucking your brother and we'll be chill. Stop fucking your brother and things will be fine. Like, what are we doing?
The dad is the only one who got it.
Only one. The mom was like, it's fine. And it's like, it's not fine. And the dad's like, I feel like they were gaslighting him a bit. They were like, why don't you accept us? Don't you want us to be happy? And he's like, you're fucking your brother. Like, the dad's like, how do you want me to react to know that my sons are fucking each other? Like, that's a weird, like, honestly, how do you respond to that? How would you even like go about that? Like, would you leave your family behind for that? I don't know.
They almost killed that man. Let's be
He had a heart attack. He had a heart attack because of the info. Because that scene, I saw that scene and I was like, I will be asleep and respond to all messages within 3 to 5 business days because I need to think. I need to process. They like, so like the little devil was like, yeah, we're gonna fuck. We're both gay. We're dating. And here's proof. And he pulls a video from when he raped his brother and he shows it to his parents. Let's go through that again. He pulled out a video of him raping his brother and showed it to his parents. Jail time for him. Move any other opinion. Jail time. He needs to be in jail. That dude gave me the vibe of like, it was either we date or I'm gonna fucking kill you. Like, he looked like he was ready to stab a bitch for love.
Big sociopath energy. Big sociopath.
I mean, we get introduced to this character because he punched Mu Ren for like being friends with Li Chang and then like breaks into their house and you're like, why are we doing this, guys?
Before we knew who Little Devil was, he was sitting in a bar that they go to after work and was taking pictures. And we're like, who is the stalker bitch? Then he opens up a computer where he's got files for years, like a decade's worth of years of photographs that he's taken. We're like, okay, this feels super serious and fucking scary. What the fuck? Mm-hmm. Then he has a key and goes into their house And while Shingsu is asleep in the bed because he's got a cold and took sleeping medicine, he hovers over him and starts sniffing him. And is like, I'm going to kiss you when you're conscious. Immediately, we're like, okay, police, help, police, help.
It's not even a red flag. We're sending flares into the air like, we need help and we need it now.
It was the Olympics opening ceremony of flags.
Yeah.
All the flags were there.
A big red stop sign appeared on screen. Like, we're just walking around with it. Like, stop this, whatever this is.
Then we find out who this person is that's breaking into the house and taking the pictures. It is Shingsu's younger brother, who apparently has been in love with him since the younger was 12 and the older was at least maybe 21, 22.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a grand scheme of how he was going to give himself a birthday present on his 20th birthday.
Yes. So basically, all the family was going to go to this little like bar, resort, beach house, whatever. They were going to go for a little vacation for his 21st birthday. And Little Devil's like, no, only Shingsu gets to come. And like, okay, fine. So it's him and Shingsu, and they get to their hotel, and basically they're at dinner, and like weird stuff starts happening. Like a cake gets brought out, and Shingsu and the waitress start singing happy birthday, and he goes, no, only you sing. And then the waitress is like, okay, and like walks away. Which is like another like, that was weird, red flag. Sings happy birthday, and then Little Devil's like, ooh, did you know that I'm like a really good barista? Or bartender, sorry.
Mm.
So then he starts mixing drinks, and apparently they're very good, and it gets Shingsu like plastered, like passed out on the bar stool, plastered. So he brings him back into his room, and he starts like rubbing on him, kissing him. Shingsu at some point does say, why don't you kiss me or something? And then Little Devil's like, oh, I'll kiss you in the morning or something, like, or only when you're sober. And it's like, you're still kissing him everywhere else but the lips. It's still weird, and it's still rape because he is very drunk.
He wouldn't kiss him while he was drunk, but he would anally
stick it in his ass
while he's drunk.
He's like, I'll slip a pinky, no problem, but a kiss, no thank you. Like, so then of course he like rapes him. It's straight up, he rapes him. Like penetrative, he raped him. And Shingsu wakes up. He's like, oh my fucking God. And he like runs home, and he is like a mess. His life is a disaster right now. That man is a walking disaster.
The conversation,
huh?
The conversation when he gets home is honestly probably the worst boys love sex conversation I've ever heard outside of Tonhon Chonlati.
They basically blamed him for forcing the brother to rape him because he was the bottom in this scenario. It was a lot. It was a lot to sit through.
I cannot find the logic.
Yeah, beyond me. Beyond my pay grade is knowing how they got there. And then fucking Little Devil walks in, runs up to him, and kisses him. And then, of course, Shingsu finally has an appropriate reaction, which is to slap him. He slaps him twice, but they were like little bitch slaps, though. Did you notice that? They were like, no, backhand.
That's because Shingsu is a bitch.
He is. I can't
Him,
believe they couldn't tell he was gay. He was gay though. Come on
him,
now.
Mr. Rogers' sweater collection, and
Mm-hmm.
him being the softest girl in the room. Like, I
Yeah,
don't think that man ever got above a whisper in his entire life.
no. Also, just real quick, why was his makeup so like they made him look like sickly? Like, why didn't they give him a better lipstick color than dull gray? Like, what was that choice?
I don't know.
Did you notice that though? That like
They made
Shing's makeup
him
was
look
bad.
like they made him look the way he portrayed his personality. Like he looked like he was made of nothing.
He looked anemic. I'm like, do you need some iron? Should you
And
see
like
someone about this?
didn't accent his skin at all. Like they made him look like he would, like if a sharp burst of wind would blow him away.
Yes. He'd sneeze and fall apart. Like it was bad.
Yeah. And so after the beach, he doesn't want to talk to his brother. Oh, we forgot to mention that before the beach, when he told his family, I only want to go to the beach with my brother, his mother followed him into his room and said, what the fuck is going on, son? To which he said, Mom, I'm going to do something at the beach, and you're probably going to hate me for it, but it needs to be done in order to bring my brother home.
The mom the mom, she was not ready for any of this in her life. She was not prepared.
I'm like, girl, this sounds like murder suicide. Get help. This is not normal.
Yes, that's a very shady statement to make. And oh, we also forgot to mention on the beach. So they get to the beach and Little Devil's like, you need to put on sunscreen, and like forces Shingsu to like have sunscreen put on by Little Devil. Little Devil's, of course, very sensually rubbing in sunscreen, only for the most uncomfortable thing I've ever seen in a show. He like lightly and sensually like grazes his nipple. And I, again, was like 3 to 5 days to process this. 3 to 5 business days to process this.
Yo, what? Like, honestly, the slow sunblock thing was creepy enough, because
Yeah.
when I put on lotion, it's like this number, not the no one puts on lotion like that.
Yeah.
But then like be like diddling his nipple. Come on.
And then when he was kissing up on him, they made sure to have a shot of him kissing that nipple. And it's like, I don't want to be here. I need an adult. This is not comfortable. Someone call 911. Like, this is insane.
It's impossible. It's impossible. So he stops talking to Little Devil, and Little Devil sends him a picture of feet standing at the edge of a ledge over the ground.
He suicide baited him into talking to him again. I can't.
Do you know I would have gone to jail if you sent me that picture? Because my response would have been, do it, then, bitch.
At least we're on the same page.
Don't speak about it, be about it.
Be the change you want to see in the world.
I mean, so he shows up, and there's this weird thing that Little Devil has about taking people to places that were important to him.
Mm-hmm.
And they get to the roof, and he says, like, after my dad died, my world was ruined. Nobody loved me. My mom abandoned me. My family didn't want me. You were the first person to show me warmth, and I've spent my life chasing that warmth. And I remember thinking, yeah, I was like, this is somebody who needs help. He's basically explaining how he needs help. And also, his rationale for all of this, when he was telling his mother why he was doing this, he's like, My brother is gay. Dad doesn't want to accept him. I'm going to make it to where dad has to accept him so that he'll move back in the house and we'll all be a family again.
Yeah, the rationale was like, well, he's only gonna date men, and you don't want another strange man coming into the house, so might as well fuck me. And it's like the hoops, uh, they should be in the Olympics of mental gymnastics. Like they should be in Tokyo right now, trying to explain themselves.
Now in the flawed logic Olympics, we have Taiwan.
They're there. Tucker Carlson's there. Like,
Representing America, Fox News.
yeah. Marjorie Taylor Greene, thoughts?
Well, I put on a great show. I think the anti-vax and the criminal conspiracies against our great leader, Donald Trump, have really put me in the forefront. I'm at least looking at a gold here, guys.
Yeah.
USA. Yeah. There was a moment later on, I want to say in the last episode, where Little Devil says, whatever personality I was going to develop is probably gone. And then Sing Soo says, that's okay. I like you anyway.
His whole personality is to be obsessed with his brother.
Yeah, he doesn't, I don't know if it was an acting choice or if that was the direction he was giving, but like even the actor who plays Little Devil, nothing. Just give us nothing, sis.
Yes. Very Haewon vibes. Like,
yes,
just you smile once or like, I don't know, furrow an eyebrow, something.
And it made it almost seem like he didn't even have sex with his brother because he felt a need to have sex. It was like he did it because that's how you keep a gay man happy.
Yeah. Yeah, all of it's bad. All of it.
So they're dealing with trying to decide what kind of relationship they're going to have, the two brothers. When the big brother gives little brother a hug outside of the apartment building that the family lives in.
Mm-hmm.
The parents see it. And the dad is like, that doesn't feel like that was a brother hug.
Mm-hmm.
It felt weird. So Little Devil comes upstairs and dad is like, hey, the fuck is going on here? That shit that happened in the street didn't seem brotherly, especially because you are a cold ass serial killer. So like human emotion, that's not compatible with the way that you've behaved the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the little brother is like, I love my brother. He is in love with me. We are going to be together. We are having a relationship. And the dad, being a really normal dad, is like, did my son take advantage of you? Because he's thinking, my son is 10 years older than you. He is the responsible party here.
Right.
He's the one that was hugging you outside. Like maybe I need to get on my own son about taking advantage of you because I know that you're a hurt kid who had a bad background before you got in our family. And he's like, no, actually, I fucked him. Want to see it? Here it goes. And the dad immediately just,
yeah. Shit, I would too.
right? And the mom, this is your fucking fault. You can't act surprised.
Yeah.
Your son told you he was going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So then the mom, I guess, keeps in contact with her son as Little Devil moves out the house. And Shingsu comes home, and that's when he finds out little brother has moved out. And dad is upset because dad basically found out about the night at the beach.
Right.
And that's when dad finds out that his oldest son is gay, even though he claims he already knew. It wasn't a surprise to him. He just was like, I wasn't prepared to deal with that gay shit. So when you moved that, it was a relief to me.
Mm-hmm.
Which, that's a whole other set of therapy notes.
They really could have just gone with the homophobic dad who comes around, and I would have been okay with that as his storyline. Because there's a scene not long after where the dad's like, listen, I'm upset about the brother fucking, but you being gay, like, that's fine. I've come around to it. I love you no matter what, and you're welcome to come home. And that's like the biggest thing that this character, I feel like that should have been the focus of his character, was kind of like what Mr. Thomas's character was, like someone who felt that they couldn't be at their home because they were gay. And then finally is able to go home. But that's not his emotional story. His emotional impact on the story is with Little Devil is bad. We should not be doing that.
Yeah. So the dad tells him, you can come back home. I'm not mad about you being gay. I'm over that shit. You can move back in the house. It's fine. But then he finds out that his wife knew about Little Devil's plan to rape his son. Mm-hmm. That basically everyone in the house has been in on this shit. Mm-hmm. And then Little Devil and Big Brother have a conversation where Big Brother's basically like, I give up. I'm going to be your boyfriend. We're going to be together. That's what you want. I'm going to give it to you. We're together now. Mm-hmm. And he's like, okay, well, when you go to talk to dad, let me know. I will talk to dad with you. But of course, demonic little possessed Little Devil brother corners dad and is like,
he tells him everything. Little Devil sucks because he does nothing but fuck shit up for other people and gets rewarded for it.
Yeah, by the end of the story, he got everything he wanted.
Yeah.
Everything he wanted.
He stalked, raped his brother, and at the end, he got what he wanted. And it's like, you should be in jail. You should be in jail.
So, he explains to the dad about the fact that your son loves me. I love him. I want to treat you as a dad, but I also need to fuck the shit out of your son. What's it going to be? Mm-hmm. Go back to the house, and everyone's sitting around the house, the mom, the two sons, and they're telling the dad, we're going to sleep together forever because we're desperately in love. Can you give us your blessing? Which, fuck you for asking. Yeah. And the dad says, how would anyone else respond to that question? Mm-hmm. Which is reasonable.
Fair. Yes.
Completely fair. Like, if this was any other family but ours, how would anybody else respond to this? Mm-hmm. And then he gets up, walks off, and says, I will never accept that gross shit you guys are doing. But I'm going to give you my blessing because you are my children. Mm-hmm. To which I remember thinking, set the whole family on fire, start anew.
He's like, both of his sons are kind of rich. Might as well.
Yeah. Murder-suicide, bitch. And when the police show up, find the son's phone, show them the video. I'm like, I had to do this, officer. It was too late.
Frame the son. You could easily frame old Little Devil for that.
Yeah, like, I mean. And so the mom is like, it's fine if y'all date, but no kissing or having sex in the house until the Little Devil graduates medical school. Which, you mean to tell me y'all are going to be under the same roof with your parents while y'all are in this relationship? Like, honestly, if I was the dad, I would have been like, you're still my sons, but you both got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Bare minimum.
Yeah.
Instead, he's like, I better teach my son-in-law how to cook if he's going to feed the family.
Yeah.
And then, because the parents won't let the boys have sex in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Little devil shows up to Big Brother's office and they fuck in the office.
Yep.
HR, where are you?
HR violations are everywhere at this company, apparently.
Yeah. So I was thinking about it really seriously because like this ruined this experience for me. I can't even enjoy the main couple for this incestuous B-side being so prevalent. But I was just thinking, let's just take the stepbrotherness out of the equation for a minute. Let's imagine that you're a 20-year-old man and your family introduces you to a 10-year-old boy. And you've known this boy from the time you guys met when he was 10 until he turns 20. Y'all have spent family vacations together. You've gone to his little league games. You went to his graduation. He is close to your family. If you guys began a sexual relationship, both families would be opposed because this is someone you watched grow up from being a child to being an adult.
Mm-hmm.
Just that aspect alone makes their love affair disgusting.
Yes.
Just that.
Just that makes it gross. Even if they weren't stepbrothers and he still stalked him, that would have been gross. Even if he had raped him, that still would have been horrible. Like, it's all bad.
Yeah, there's no aspect of this story that is good for anybody on any level. It's gross that as the big brother, you're not like, I'm mature enough to see that you have a twisted sense of love and you need help to decipher that this is an inappropriate relationship.
Right? It was, and the worst thing is too, is I went on Viki where I watched on Viki. You did too, I'm assuming.
Yes, I turned off the time comments because I didn't want to hear anybody's bullshit.
I didn't look at the time comments, but I did look at the reviews. It has a 9.4 out of 10. And there was one review that was this very long tirade about how this show really makes you think about what's right and what's wrong and what real true love is. And I'm like, fuck you. This whole relationship is a dumpster fire of problematic shit. Nothing about it is redeemable.
I don't see how anybody could watch this show and think anything other than like, this is fucked. This is fucked.
Me too. It's crazy. And if your favorite character is Little Devil, if he's your ooh-woo baby prince on Twitter, sis, therapy for you. Therapy. If you have printed on him, therapy. Please get help. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't even know how they found the actors to play these roles because this is a career-ending role.
Could you imagine, like, even the parents, like, what 40, 50-year-old person read that script and was like, yeah, I want to do this. Like, how? Why?
I don't know. And I talked about it with my daughter because of course, when I watch it, she's around. So of course I'm talking to her about what I'm watching. And even she was like, yeah, no, this is disgusting. This is not at all appropriate because family is one of those relationships that already is super fraught. Like family just in a regular, no sex involved situation is already tough. Dealing with a father who's passed away, trying to be involved in a new created family, dealing with the whole like, you're my stepdad, do I call you dad? Is it betraying my family members who have passed away? Like all of that is already fraught enough with emotion. But then to insert any kind of sex into this is just, it's so wildly just unhinged to think in that pattern that I don't know how the ending being, we're going to continue to be lovers while still being in this nuclear family unit. I don't know how anybody could see that as being a happy ending. These are all people with really deep-seated problems, big problems. Even if the relationship had been, honestly, if it had been a straight relationship and it had been that the stepson fell for the stepmom and they had a relationship, that would have been weird, even though they would have both been adults when they met. If it had been that the big brother was a big sister instead and it was a little brother who raped her, that would be fraught and gross and everything else. Like there's so, no matter which way you take it, This is not a supportable dynamic.
No. It really ruined a show that could have been pretty good. Like, honestly, I'm having trouble rating it. No, I'm going to give it a bad rating. I can't in good conscience give the show a good rating.
I would like to see this show be completely recut to just burn any traces of this brother relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And then that show, I would give a 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
With this brother relationship in there, I'm leaning towards a strong 3.
Girl, I'm thinking 0. I think this deserves nothing. I mean, there's good aspects to it, and like I think like a lot of the sets were nice. I think the wardrobes for everyone were really cute.
That Everlast sponsorship came through.
Yeah. Yeah. But the brother relationship is, I think, one of the most toxic, terrible, problematic things I've ever seen in any TV show. It's crazy.
And History has always flirted with this. The
Yeah.
History volleyball season had 2 brothers who were like, I think biological brothers, maybe?
I forgot. It was definitely bad.
Yeah, it was brothers. And then one whole like story arc was about stepbrothers who met when their parents got married and started living together, and it became sexual. So like, this is not a new thing to introduce into history, but this takes it so much further and is so much ickier than any of the previous setups.
Mm-hmm.
This is like, this is the grossest relationship I've ever watched in a BL, hands down. Yeah. And I've watched some relationships that have been strictly built on sexual assault, straight up. I've seen that.
Love by Chance.
Yeah, this is worse. This is actually worse because this is emotional manipulation. This is like Stockholm syndrome. This is, you know, just all kinds of weird dependence issues. Mm-hmm. Everything here is fucked. Everything here is fucked. Right. It is scorched earth bad.
Yeah.
There's nothing redeeming. There's not even anything entertaining about it. There's nothing good here.
Oh yeah, definitely don't watch this. Watch our review, but don't watch the show.
Or you know what? If you want to watch the show, that's your business. But I'm going to say this. I want it to be very clear. If you watch this show and you're in the comment section talking about that there's some valid points to be made about, please stop watching us.
Yeah.
Go ahead and watch all the problematic media you want to, but please stop watching us because we will never support that. And we're not going to waste time arguing with you about it. This is bad.
Yeah. So very low rating. This is,
I hate to see that this is how history dies. I really hate that. There are so many ways they could have gone besides this bullshit.
Especially because there was a rumor that HIStory4 was going to be a Make Our Days Count kind of a offshoot. And
this is what they chose.
Yeah. So really and truly, I didn't even need a HIStory4. I just wanted them to reshoot episode 10 of Make Our Days Count and have an extra special episode for Trapped where he's out of prison and we can all be happy now.
I want to cry. Like, I really want to cry. Like, I'm not going to because I'm not a corny bitch, but like, I really want to cry. This was when we did our like marathon of the history series, it got better and better and better and better. And it's like, you could see that they were building towards something so good and just something that we talk all the time about representation, but these types of stories where like, the storyline is good. The gayness is an element, but it's like not the be all and end all. It's really about the relationships. This is the kind that people watch and it helps them kind of like see that gay relationships are like any other relationship and it brings humanity to the table. Something like this strips humanity from the conversation. Yep. It verifies that gay people are perverts because look at the unnatural shit that they do. They fuck their own brothers. Like it's beyond just not a good storyline. It's actually a damaging storyline.
Yes.
And that's what makes me so angry and makes me want to cry, because Make Our Days Count up until the end of episode 9, beautiful, wonderful, so emotional, such a great story. Trapped, still from top to bottom, excellent execution.
Mm-hmm.
And to have those two shows be related to this fucking garbage is obscene.
Yeah.
It's obscene.
Like I wasn't necessarily thinking that History 4 when it was announced was going to be better than season 3, because there's only so high you can go, right?
Right.
But I at least thought it would be good. And it was like History started real slow, boop boop boop. History 3, boop boop boop, pinnacle, and then just like straight to the bottom of the barrel garbage with season 4.
And it would have been as easy as to just not have this second couple. Like, that's the crazy part about it. Like, if it wasn't the second couple, if they were completely out of the picture and we just had the main couple, Murin and Ichang, this would have been fine. This would have been fine.
A serviceable show, would have enjoyed it for sure.
Yeah. Office shenanigans, maybe a little office romance somewhere on the side, would have been fine. I would have been, even if the second couple had been a straight couple, I'd have been cool with that too. But
yeah, honestly, Mei Fong deserved.
Yeah, Mei Fong was somebody in the office, or even like the little guy who was the friend of Yi Chung, who was dating Zoe, who was on Murin's team. I would have been fine watching those two have fun, because both of them were like normal looking people, and we never get storylines about normal looking people in love.
Right. Like, I like the idea that season 3 there are both heavier dramas. And then season 4 had this like almost sitcom aspect to it at times, but then really lost the plot with the second couple. But the Muren and Lee Chen stuff, like when they're in the office and they're all having fun, like that's a show I'd watch. I'd watch a whole show about this office and their dynamics with each other.
Yeah, and then like little vignettes about how like on this episode we're coordinating the Chen wedding, and bloopers abound because the invitations got lost, or because the venue got flooded, or problem solving wedding venue stuff. Right. That would have been fine. That would have been fun. But this second storyline, it just took so much time, and it was so not worth the payoff.
Right. And honestly, I hope it kills the History franchise. I think we can't do this again.
Yeah, I've never wanted a franchise to die as much as I want this one to, just because I don't want them to hurt what I've loved any further.
Yes. If they're like, we're going to come back and do what the fans want, I'd be like, please don't, because I can't get hurt further. I can't have the pain anymore of watching shit I love get burned. It's not fun.
I would watch another History as long as the bitch who wrote this has nothing to do with it. The bitch who wrote this, who ruined Make Our Days Count and then wrote this set of garbage, as long as like she has like arthritis in her joints and can't ever type anything, then I could probably watch like a season 2 of Trapped.
Yeah.
Especially if it's the same writer, I can make it work.
Right.
Yeah. But other than that, I don't want anything to do with it. And I'm super upset that this is what they gave us. I'm actually legitimately hurt. Mm-hmm. I'm legitimately hurt.
It's
like somebody giving you tiramisu and being like, okay, I know you love tiramisu. It's my first time making it, but I used all the right ingredients. I did not wash my hands before I started making it, and I took a massive shit, but I used all the best ingredients. It looks really good. Do you want to eat it?
Also, we ran out of cream, so I used mayo instead.
Yeah, but still, try it. It's great. Yeah. Like, no matter how much other stuff in there I might like, the fact is your shitty, dirty hands were involved in making this, so it's inedible. It's inedible.
A shit can only get so polished.
Yeah.
Well, great. So terrible. Yeah, we gave it a bad.
Hell!
Okay, so do we have a Samantha's rant today, or was that it?
Kind of yes, kind of no. Samantha's rant today, I just want to briefly talk about Chris Wu. And I know that has nothing to do with boys love, but I want to talk about it because if you don't know this already, you should. Mason and I are big K-pop fans, and mostly second gen stands, but we've been creeping in there with third and fourth. You know, we do what we need to do. And EXO was one of those groups that, like, during the time that we became K-pop fans, you couldn't escape them.
Oh, they were the tits. And they still are. Well, okay, the last album wasn't great, but
it was better than Obsession. The last album was decent, better than Obsession.
Yeah, Obsession was too much. Don't miss the music. I don't even know what it's called. The most recent one was better but boring, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So Chris was a member of EXO right before their best song. So Call Me Baby is EXO's best song. Fight me in the comments if you want it. Best title track they've ever done. And so
Aggie's in the comments like, love me, right?
I realize that that's not your jam, but you're just gonna have to fight me on this one.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just gonna say, Call Me Baby, immaculate. There's everything that's perfect about that song. And baby girl, I mean, come on.
Yeah. Ooh, Dio did what he had to do on that song. Like, absolutely. He got that paycheck.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was a good time.
Yeah.
So Chris left EXO, I want to say right before Overdose came out. Because like I want to say Chris left right during that whole Saywall Ferry.
It was a mess. It was a dumpster fire of a promotional cycle for EXO and the Overdose album.
Yeah, and I think by the time the cycle was over, Luhan was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a time. And Chris has been a celebrity. I mean, gosh.
Went through in 2014, sorry, but continue on. I'm just thinking about 2014 K-pop now. What a fucking trip.
Some of the best music ever released in terms of K-pop, but also one of the worst, horriblest years. That was the year Ladies Code died.
Ladies Code, Park Bomb was slandered to hell and back. Jessica left. But then we had like Touch My Body came out. Come Back Home. Mr. Red Velvet debuted. We got Be Natural. Like,
it was a year.
Yeah.
It was a year.
Yeah.
So as K-pop fans, you know, tangentially, I've kept up with Chris and Luhan and Tao, mostly Lay. Lay has kind of been the one that's been on my radar the most. The other three, if something big happens, I'll hear about it, but I really don't pay big attention to them. A few years ago, Chris Wu was on my radar because Ariana Grande had put out a song and Chris Wu's song went to #1 instead of her song. And it was a big deal because people thought there was chart manipulation. Mm-hmm. But it was just like, no, there's over 1 billion people in China and they decided to support their fave. There you go. So Chris, a girl that he was dealing with, accused him of getting her drunk to have sex with her, of taking advantage of several underage women to get them to have sex with him, and that he is really the worst. That's all I can say. He's the worst. And it has been a dumpster fire of like old K-pop fans and Chris stans and EXO OT9 versus EXO OT12s. And it's all been a nightmare. It's all been a nightmare. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to talk about it briefly because the update is Chris has lost every endorsement he had. Everyone's dropped him. Didn't have a single one left. There were some shenanigans. It turns out that there was like a third party involved in all this who has been stealing money from both sides. Don't really know as much about that, but some more shenanigans there. But more and more women have been posting chat records and proof that Chris is just scum. Just scum. On one of the records of a chat, he was messaging some girl who was a part of a pop group, basically like, you're a good girl, I bet you're a virgin. And she's like, this is a wildly inappropriate conversation to have with me. And he's like, well, I'm just telling you that so that no guy like tricks you into having sex with them. And she's like, okay, well, are you a virgin? He's like, no, men are supposed to be fucking around. What do you mean a virgin? Never, not me.
Yeah.
And so like, it's just, I'll send the conversation to you. But the reason I wanted to talk about it here is because one of the things that I found interesting about HIStory4 was the whole like sexual assault and how the people who are the perpetrators of the assault place themselves in a victim mentality when they're caught, and how they're like, I'm gonna fuck with you in order for people to forget my transgressions or to make me seem innocent. So like the whole thing with Vice President Cao was he framed Yi Chang because he got caught trying to rape someone. And the company, rather than looking at it and being like, this is the word of a known sexual assault perpetrator, they said, this is someone we need to listen to because there's money involved here.
Right.
And I think it speaks a lot to how money talks and victims' concerns and atrocities walk.
I mean, it's crazy that he wasn't just straight up fired. Like, they transferred him, but it's like, why didn't you fire him for trying to rape an employee? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, like this is somebody who can't be allowed to work with other people because they take advantage of their position. They are violent. They're not to be trusted around decent folks. But they took that guy's word and transferred him around because he makes money for the company. And that's the thing. For years, people had been kind of accusing Chris Wu of doing stuff like this, but he made money for all of these companies. Like when they were showing the list of his endorsements that he lost, it was anyone you could think of. It was fucking L'Oreal Men. It was Louis Vuitton. I think it might have been Gucci. But like he was like involved in several layers of endorsement.
He was making money in China for sure.
Yeah. And so for years, the way that he got in contact with these underage girls was through his fan clubs. The presidents of his fan clubs would introduce him to young girls, underage girls, because he would specify, I don't want anybody who's 18. And then they would be brought in to audition or have a fan meet, and he would fuck them and then turn around and those girls would be either paid off or they would be told, no one's going to believe you because everyone loves Chris, so you need to just shut up about it.
It's going to be another Sundry situation where we're going to have free Chris Wu and Chris Wu is innocent on the timeline, which both of us will have zero patience for.
No, don't even come at me with this, but it just goes to show like one of the reasons why these shows, again, like we were saying about equating homosexuality with perversion, these shows bring a lot of real life into them. And the conversation about how the powerful can put the weaker or the lesser positioned people in a space where they have to defend themselves against false allegations, even though it's very clear that the person who's accusing them is a guilty person. Like that's real life. And we see that over and over in Boys Love as well. We saw that with Saint and how he was basically almost blackballed out of the whole community by a jealous manager who wanted to make sure that his actors were given the first position on fan meets and endorsements and everything else. So he spreads a sexual rumor about Saint. We see that with Gaia Caligula and the guy who wrote that turning around and basically trying to blackmail one of the lead actors into having sex with him. We see that so many times. And we saw that with the whole deal with that one, oh fuck, I can't even think of it now, but that whole company and their shenanigans that they did the two Boys Love where they like redid it.
Two Moons Company.
Yeah.
Motive Village.
Like Motive Village, the whole thing was one of the actors, they didn't want to let him join in any promotions, didn't want to let him join in the boy band, wouldn't let him work with anybody else because he refused to have sex with somebody in the company, allegedly. Like it keeps perpetrating over and over and over and over and over again. And when are we going to get to a position in society within these fandoms where we stop defending our faves just because they're our faves?
Right?
Because that's what this is.
This is why I don't stand the men, because it always turns up like this. If you're still out there standing any man from YG Entertainment,
it's not a great look.
It's not a good look. Like almost every man that's left SM, it's like,
sus.
Like, y'all really played the victim for a bit, but maybe maybe
Well,
SM didn't want ya.
even the men that have stayed with SM, like Kangta got caught up in some big scandal where he was dating one girl while dating another, and they were fighting in the mentions about him.
Super Junior is a hot mess of a group in terms of what's going on there. A hot mess. Siwon is just a straight up racist, homophobic, Trump supporting, Reagan loving asshole. It's
closet case.
Huh?
And probably a closet case.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Allegedly.
Allegedly. Sorry. We're just speculating. We don't actually know.
Yeah, he's never had the conversation with us. But yeah, like over and over again, these men in these communities that are supremely like patriarchal, it's constantly like whoever has the most money is the one to be believed. And if you have less money, you're on the offensive to prove your innocence, even though you did nothing wrong. The only thing you were guilty of was revealing the truth. And it's that's the reason why it's such a harmful thing to have these really, okay, gay people are not all great. Just like straight people are not all great. There's bad people in every group. You know, we're all flawed. But we haven't had enough positive portrayals of gay people in media for us to have these super perverse portrayals yet.
Right. In fact, most gay media for a long time was only negative portrayals.
Right. And so putting something like HIStory4 out there with this couple that is so clearly perversion and making it seem like if you accept gay, why wouldn't you accept some perverse shit like this? Because this is what gay is. The message itself, you can flip that backwards, and people who are against homosexuality being treated as normal are going to say, look at how their gayness has made their family accept some bullshit like this. So yeah, I wanted to bring Chris into it because one, I always like to have an opportunity to talk about K-pop with you guys, but two, just another reason why like the whole celebrity thing and people in power thing, we really need to start making it to where victims have a space. Because when we don't give victims a space and we have these conversations like the one in this show where because you're the bottom, the rape was your fault, which again, how the fuck?
Logic?
Like they literally said, well, if you're the top, then maybe it's because he was begging for it. But because you're the bottom, apparently your ass has a vacuum in it and it sucked his dick in and would not let. And he put that twist on it, that lock, and it just wouldn't let go. None of me, or you'll be stuck here forever. So gross. It made no sense.
If I don't shoot a condom tomorrow, it wasn't good enough.
But yeah, like in reality, this whole thing, like, let's just start at the stopping. Let's start with you wake up in the hotel, you slept with your brother, you realize you've had sex with him, you can feel it in your butt. In a real world situation, we should give victims enough space for him to then go to his family and say, I don't know what the hell happened last night, but your son raped me. And I need you to support me because this has ruined me. I don't know how to process this. I don't know what to do. I feel tortured from the inside. And he should felt like he could go to his family. Instead, he goes to his friends, and his friends use this old asinine, ass backwards, antiquated logic to believe, well, it's your fault because your ass sucked him up.
Could you imagine blaming your friend for their rape?
No, never. And then his friends, continue to keep in contact with this boy. They invite him to go on vacation with them. They seek his advice on how to woo somebody that they're in love with. They laugh and joke with each other about the fact that these two are getting together. Like, imagine having an entire community that looks at your assault as being just the first part of the series of like love games between two people who like each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the reaction that people had when this first girl came out against Chris. They were like, you're just mad because he doesn't want you anymore. Bitch, you're jealous.
I was so happy that other women stepped forward too, because then it became like, it just became more real to a lot more people.
Yeah,
It was
because
like the Bill Cosby thing, you know? It wasn't
yeah.
until multiple women had come forward that Steam had that it had gained traction.
Mm-hmm. And it's a shame that it has to be like that. It has to be an avalanche of voices. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, just recently, R. Kelly, he's about to have his court case finally come up after all this time, second go round, second bite at the apple. And I could talk to you at length about the first case and the grossness of the first case. But the second case is coming up, and the prosecutors want to introduce evidence that R. Kelly was having sexual relationships with two 17-year-old boys. Now, the people who were on R. Kelly's side are upset because R. Kelly was involved in some gay shit. When it was 14-year-old Aaliyah, who we have proof that he forged documents in order for them to be married so that he could take her by himself on a concert tour where there would be no chaperones. We have proof of him marrying Aaliyah.
Aaliyah the singer?
Yes. Yes. That's why I said if you ask me, I could go on for hours about R. Kelly.
I'll have to ask you about it off camera because I'm interested now.
Yeah. We have proof of him doing that. We have proof of him writing a song for her when she was 13 years old called Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. Yeah, 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 yeah.
And Lady Gaga still worked with him?
Yeah.
A lot of people did.
A lot of people did. A
You
lot
know
of people.
what? That is one thing that really grinds my tits is I don't understand why these men keep getting complicit with like very terrible things and then people condemn them for it and then are like, let's still work together.
There are people who think that because Rihanna took Chris Brown back after he beat her ass, that we shouldn't be mad at Chris Brown anymore, even though Karrueche Tran still has a restraining order out on him because of the violence that he directed towards any man that was involved with her and all of the threats he made against her, threatening to hurt her.
Right.
She still has an active restraining order.
You need like weird merch about making jokes about his abuse of Rihanna. And then like, didn't SZA or someone recently like work with him? And I was like, why are we featuring Chris Brown on our tracks again?
Yeah, people still work with him now. Fucking Jay Park, who, again, bad choices all around are made when it comes to him. He had a tweet out talking about, y'all gonna be sad if anything ever happens to Chris Breezy because he's the greatest.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, Jay.
Yeah. And just recently in the group chat, I was talking about how I really love Lil Nas X. I think he's a visionary. I think he's the moment. And I am so appreciative of what he's doing. But Kanye
West, who has been actively in the middle of a mental breakdown for the better part of like 5 years,
and
who is got too much money for anybody to give him real help. We need to leave him alone. We need to let him convalesce.
Yeah.
But we refuse to do so. We refuse to allow our love of entertainment to block us, or we allow our love for entertainment to keep us from utilizing our common sense and ostracizing people who, if they didn't have this power, would be shunned from our communities. Because if Kanye West was not Kanye West, if he was like Rebecca Black, who was famous for doing Friday, no one would want to work with them.
Right.
But because he's Kanye, people are like, well, what did he do that was so bad? What he did that was so bad is that he endorsed Trump, who anyone who endorsed Trump after knowing what kind of shitbag he was, again, like, you're part of the problem, sis.
Yeah.
He made wild inflammatory statements about how people don't need mental health access, basically. Like, the meds are meant to control you. You don't need those things. This is all a part of the creative process. There are people out here hurting. Like, really, there are people out here hurting. And when you start to talk about how the vaccine is meant to implant things in our brain, and not that he said that directly, because allegedly, all the things, but he's basically made statements that were anti-vax. He's been anti-mental health medication. Like, he really has made all the wrong decisions in terms of publicizing worst practices.
Right.
And when people work with him, you give him another platform with which to spread his misinformation.
Right.
And you have to stop that.
Because Industry Baby is about to be a hit.
It's a great song.
It is. It's a great song and it's a great video. My other complaint, though, why Jack Harlow and not a rap girl?
I think Jack Harlow, because I think Lil Nas gets criticized, especially from the Black community, about how he is undermining Black masculinity. And so I think that Lil Nas X is working with men because he's trying to make the point that I'm still a man. I'm still just as much a man as your favorite rapper who works with other male rappers. That's me too. And so I think that's the reason why he worked with Jack Harlow, because he needed to show, like, I can still rap with the straights.
Yeah, that's fair. I just think Jack's rap verse was a little too long. It's like, we can cut some of this, you guys.
I didn't really have any problems with it. I thought it was cool that not only did Jack Harlow rap with Lil Nas X, but he put out a tweet saying, like, my being in the video was entirely Nas's vision. And if he had wanted me to dance in that shower scene, I'd have been there.
Right. I respect that too.
Yeah. So I'm like, that's an ally for you.
You know, Lil Nas is going to pull some, he's definitely going to have a live performance with Jack now, doing some crazy shit.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Yeah. But I mean, it's definitely, we idolize our idols far too much. We need to pull it back a lot, because we're putting real people in danger here.
Parasocial relationships are tough.
Yeah. The fact that Kanye West spent so much time supporting fucking Candace Owens.
Right?
I'll never be over that.
It's a lot. But all right. Do you have Instagrams of the day?
I do. I have two.
Okay.
The first Instagram of the day is for the actor who played Ishang, and his Instagram is his first name, which is Charles, Charles, Charles. Mm-hmm. Then it's an underscore, and then it's LISR, which is kind of like the word list, but instead of a T, it's an R, like rabbit. So Charles underscore LISR. And he has 181,000 followers on Instagram. So that's a good following. A lot of his Instagram right now is not a bunch of commercials. It's mostly like him just playing guitar. I guess he's a musician, so he talks a lot about that. I really like him because he reminds me of Minho. I've already talked about that very early on in the broadcast. And when I first said it to Mason, he's like, I don't see it.
Visually, I'm like, I wouldn't look at them and be like, they have the same face, but I think like their vibe is the same and they have the same smile. And that's
yeah. So I enjoy him tremendously because he fulfills my fantasies. And then the second actor I picked was Muren because I liked him. I thought he gave a very like Japanese vibe. I hope that's not racist. But like his fashion and like his hair and the fact that he was so thin very much reminded me of a character in like a Japanese BL.
Yeah, I see that. Whenever I saw him, I thought, does Alex know that this man exists? Alex,
yes,
this man exists.
He is absolutely Alex's type.
Oh yeah.
In fact, we need to send some pictures to the group chat. We'll
Yeah.
do that when we get off.
Fairy Prince, someone call Alex.
Yeah. Strong eyebrows, looks kind of mean. Alex is type. But his Instagram is Anson Chen, which is his name. So Anson is Anson. So A like Apple, N like Nancy, S like Sam, O, and then N again like Nancy, and then Chen, like the guy from EXO, CHEN underscore Anson Chen, and he's got 182,000 followers. So you'll be able to tell if you got him or not. And he's got like a lot of modeling pictures and stuff like that on his Instagram. And he's just really, really beautiful. Like, I don't know how else to say it. He's really, really pretty. He's 25. And during the show, whenever he would smile, he looked 19 to me. Like, he has a very young vibe when he's smiling, which may be why he doesn't smile very much. Also, he is thin. That boy is, he could turn sideways and disappear. He is so thin. And I'm not making fun of the fact that he's thin, but I was like, when they had the scene in the hotel where he undressed himself because of the date rape drug, and Ichan looked at him and was like, ooh, ah. I was like, okay.
I think, well, you and I both prefer men with a little more meat on their bones than that. Man, now we're skinny shaming and we're problematic and we're gonna get canceled.
Cancel me if you want to. That baby looks like he is hungry. And I know that some people are supernaturally thin. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying right now, he looked like he was like thin because he's a model and he's required to be that thin. So clothes can hang off of his shoulders.
Yeah.
Because every outfit he wore, he looked like a walking clothes hanger.
I actually really like that. I love the drapery to a lot of his outfits.
Okay.
You know, he was watching like a large, and I'm sitting here like, that would not fit.
I was watching the show and I was thinking, whoever is the costume person, I really want to talk to you about what you're giving me, because like each character, their costuming was like so much a part of their character. Like it really did translate a lot of things on the screen. First of all, Murin dressed like a 40-year-old Japanese mother, and I love it.
Yes, very fashion forward. What's his name? Lee Chang had this like jockey, but still very fashionable look to him. And I'm sorry, but how did they not know that Shing-Su was gay? Like, he just dressed like he had
all the sweaters.
He had like colorful sweaters and very low cut shirts, and it's like,
come on, girl.
Yeah.
Who's wearing a tank top with a pink and green plaid sweater?
Right. I also really liked like Mei Fong's looks too, and so was the auntie character in the company. They had good looks for everyone.
I thought the girl's fashion was really good. Even the bitch, I did not like her, but I thought her fashion was nice.
Yeah, I also like the other gay guy at the company. He always wore like a really fun, colorful sweater or something.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed the show's fashion. I thought they did a really good job. There was only one like slightly risque scene, honestly. Even though they were like sex scenes, the sex scenes were not like, they weren't nearly as risque as some of the stuff we saw in History Season 3.
No, they might be worse. The nipple touch really sent me though.
Yeah, that one and the licking of the nose, those two were like the most.
Yeah.
And then like that huge fucking bottle of lube again. It's just so much.
They're two-handing the 6-foot bottle of lube.
Oh, baby, I got you. All right.
Weighed more than Muren did.
Right? Like that thing looked massive. It looked like he was handing him a sex toy.
I know. I was like, that's the biggest fucking dildo. Just the tip of that one.
I'm telling you. But like the riskiest scene is they were changing in a locker room and we got to see the crack of Ichang's ass. That was probably the risk.
When we saw that, I was like, oh, we getting some butt today?
I mean, and compared to the shower scene in Make Our Days Count, like this was nothing.
Nah. All right. So I don't have a manga of the week. I was gonna.
Yes, you do. The one you bought yesterday.
I didn't read any of them.
Oh, I thought that you may have decided to read that one since it was so incredibly interesting.
No, so I was watching this show most of the day, and then I don't know. I think I was too stoned, and I was like, I don't know if I can read the manga right now. I didn't, but I bought a bunch of manga, and then next review, I read this book, and I really liked it, but it is also under a lot of controversy. So next review, we're gonna have Mason's rant, along with Samantha's rant, because I got
Ooh,
shit to say about this book.
I can't wait. But I'm sorry that you're not going to tell us about the Smutty McSmutterson that you bought yesterday because that was great.
Oh, girl, opens it up. I on camera opens it up, thinking like, I didn't think it would be that smutty. First page, slipped a finger up his butt. I was like, oh, okay, we're in for it. And then I skim through, open a page. He's double fisting the dicks, and I'm like, I did not realize that that's what I was buying today. Anyways, my mom comes to visit. I need to hide my yaoi collection somewhere.
Yes, yes, you do. I was planning on sending you Dick Fight Island since I was done reading it, but maybe not right
Once my mom leaves, yeah.
now. That bitch is sold out. Remember I was telling you I paid like $16 for it? It's like going for 25 now because it's sold out.
Yeah. Well, the company that publishes a lot of these boys' loves is like really tiny. And I just don't think they have the like structure yet to do like these mass printings. Like the Given volumes sell like that now. I make sure to get them right when they're hot so I can make sure to read them. But yeah, I think that's it for today. Oh, next week we're gonna watch Young Royals. It is that like Swedish show on Netflix that everyone's been talking about. We've heard very good things, so Young Royals it is.
Yes, I'm excited for it. Well, thank you guys for joining us for this. I realized that this was not anything anybody really wanted to talk about, but we did it. And we're all about consistency, baby. When it comes around these parts, we're like continuity. Give us part 2. We'll talk about it.
For
Even though
sure.
we didn't do Love by Chance. You know what? Before we leave, I owe an apology to Love by Chance season 2. Love by Chance season 2, you are now officially not the worst sequel ever made.
Oh, because of Tharn Type season 2?
No, no. Initially, I thought that Love by Chance season 2 was the worst because I thought the acting was atrocious, and I feel like they never really gave justice to the rape that season 1 ended on. So I had pegged it as the worst. HIStory4 is by far the worst sequel to anything ever.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
So I apologize to you, Love by Chance. I really didn't give you a fair shot because I didn't know it could get any worse.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, have a great day. I always forget how to end these, but have a good day, everyone. Bye.